Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another review of the beginning after the end. I'm going to miss what we got to do with our previous episode with talking about the. We'll be right back after we watch this episode. And then we do Spanish Flea, Homer singing Spanish Flea. And we're back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I'm still watching that part. Yeah. I still watch that part. It makes me giggle. Yeah.
It's
Um,
good.
It's just
yeah.
Homer being a guy.
It's
Yep.
Homer just being Homer. It's
Just being a dude.
just being him. I believe this is episode 8. Am I correct in that? Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, I'll talk about the naming thing later. It bothers me. Like the whole naming sense of this anime is annoying to me, but I'll go over that later. Uh, but yeah, we just finished watching this episode. There's a bit to go over. Uh, so starting off, I want to hear the thoughts of Hoshi and Fenris, who are our anime onlys for this stuff. What'd you guys think?
Go first,
Uh,
Hoshi.
thanks, Fenris. You're such a pal.
Sounds like you weren't as enthusiastic about this episode as the last one.
No,
Yeah.
no, I was not. I'm very disappointed with this episode. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay, there we
Cool.
go. Yeah. All right. What are the things that bothered you?
The pacing
Mm-hmm.
and like how everything kind of like just dragged out,
Mm.
and like they spent a long time on a fight scene that really didn't need to happen.
Yeah, well, yes, but also no.
Yes and no.
Yes and
Yeah.
no, but they could have done it a little better, in my opinion.
They
Oh, they could have
dragged
done it
out.
so much better.
Wait till you see just how quick this actual fight was in the other
Mhm.
mediums.
And also, again,
Yeah.
it kind of felt slideshowy.
Yes, we returned
yeah,
to the
100%.
slideshow after the end. Yes, indeed.
I was amazed when there was a brief little bit of Arthur was in motion,
Yeah.
and then right back to slideshow.
And just I don't know. And I wish the little dragon talked.
It does. It does.
It's
Just not in
supposed
the
to.
anime.
That's what I'm saying. Like in the anime, I'm wishing it would talk. It would give so much more context. I'm pretty sure if we look at the thingy, like you're probably gonna show us later, I bet you money that little thing's talking and
Oh
saying
yeah, she's
stuff.
full of thoughts.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Head
very
empty.
much.
No
very
thoughts.
much toddler-esque.
Mhm. And it's
I-
so funny, so cute.
I know it's not until later, but there's like there's like this absolute glorious moment. It's I think right before the academy stuff, which is an arc. We break certain things down by arcs. Um, so there is a moment where they're at the dinner table here in the Helstia family dining table that you saw them at before. They're having like breakfast or something, and literally Sylphie and Arthur are fighting over a piece of meat. They both got it in their mouths and they're tugging at each. They're
It's
tugging on it to try and get it. It
so
sums
wonderful.
up. It kind of sums up their relationship in these early years perfectly. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's 100%.
Oh no,
Yeah.
our child is feral.
No.
Oh, also, another thing is Sylvie does not like being picked up and snuggled overly much by Lilia and Eleanor. But in this, they made it look like she was so happy and cheerful.
Oh no! In this part, I think it happened kind of, sort of, almost the same way, but like
Mm.
being chased down, it's a whole different thing. It's a
Oh,
whole
yeah.
different thing. Yeah, Sylvia's kind of picky in a way about who she will let do certain things, and I swear to God, if they don't have her start talking soon, I'm gonna get really upset.
Yep.
That being said, Fenris, your thoughts?
My first thought while watching this is, why is the third of this episode a PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Because they didn't do explanations for stuff that should have been done in episode 1 or 2. That's why.
Mhm. I'm
No,
pretty
no,
sure.
I wasn't referring to the monocore system. I was referring to the fight.
Oh yeah,
No,
yeah,
fair.
yeah. No, absolutely
Like a
understand
good
that.
third to half the episode was just the sparring match.
If you think
Like,
about,
I
if you
understand
think
it's
about it
supposed
from
to
the,
happen, but it is still, come on.
If you think about it from the perspective of like, okay, that's kind of cute. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say some of the animation isn't cute, and you know what? I will say this unabashedly right now. As crappy as this was, still better than the AI crap that Anime Expo is trying to shove down our throats.
Yes,
Facts.
I will
Yeah.
give you that, and they just keep putting out
And
more
you know
and
what?
more.
And you know
basically.
what?
Yes, they do.
And you know what? I prefer to have sucky animation done by humans at this point than the almost perfect except for hands animation that happens with AI. Or God forbid it looks like the eyes of the posters in the background are melting kind of
Mhm.
stuff. It's bad. I don't we'll go into it more later, but like yeah. By later I mean we're probably going to talk about it again at Anime Church. But you know what? At least this way, it's kind of laziness on this part. And I'm not even going to cry incompetence because Fenris, I showed Moon the final episode of the strongest mage in the Demon Lord's army as human. And he was like,
Mhm.
this is
That's
the
a
same
good
studio?
one.
And I'm like, yeah, this is the same studio. He goes, what the fuck? It's so much better. And I'm like, I know.
They can
That-
do good. They're
They
just choosing
can.
not to.
They are
Yeah.
straight up choosing not to. And I think it's because this is a US based story. I think it's that.
Probably.
There might be some condescension going on here. And I'm like, man, I really wish this series had gotten a fair shake.
Hmm.
That being
I'm-
said, these are discussions we've had about the
Mhm.
anime in general. Let's keep
Yeah.
going with this episode.
Am I the only one who thought the dragon was going to take a shit on that girl's lap?
It's what it looked like.
Yeah, yeah. I thought I was like, that didn't happen at all. If the dragon moves and Sylvie has pooped on her, I don't know how
I would
I'm
have
gonna
laughed,
feel.
but I would have been upset.
I'd have laughed, but I'd also been like, that's not. Yeah, that's not Sylvie. She
It's
wouldn't
not
just do
remotely
that.
what happens
Yeah, no.
at all.
But yeah, we get to this. Okay. And now it's the slideshow after the
Yep,
end again.
next slide. There we go. Next slide.
Yeah, this is
And-
just
PowerPoint
Yep, there we go.
presentation.
well, it's
because
not
it has
only that
some
it dragged
motion to it.
it dragged on quite a long time, and unfortunately, I have no hope whatsoever for any of the fights in this anime. This was
It
just
almost feels like one of those animes that you like when you're first starting out as an animator that they put you on, kind of like
honestly, I can agree.
Hmm.
like so. And I hate to say it, but episode 1 compared to this one is already so much better.
Well, that's because
Wow.
they spend all the budget and time and everything on episode 1.
True.
That's just universal.
Which is really sad considering how episode 1 turned out visually.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
rather freaking pathetic.
'Cause you would think I just so many
Anything-
things to say.
Anything else you want to say on this, Fenris?
No.
The, si-
Okay,
the
Nothing I
good.
can say. I don't have the words to articulate.
Okay,
the silence
that's
of
fine.
disappointment is strong.
So
Absolute.
I will say I'm happy about one thing. We did finally get a description of not just the mana cores, but like, hey, here's some more stuff about the elements, and specifically conjurers versus augmenters, which was not a thing that was discussed in like the whole magic system in this series is actually really well thought out when you check out the manhwa or the novels. It's really kind of well put together, and you're like, okay, cool. Like, it's another reason why this kind of gets compared to Mushoku Tensei, because the mana system or the system of magic is actually thought out pretty well. In fact,
Hmm.
I will go out on a limb and say this. I think that the mana system in the beginning after the end is better than the one that was described in Mushoku Tensei.
I
and
agree.
that's more. I think it's honestly a lot more to do with like him with Turtle Me kind of seeing how that went and kind of being like, what can I build upon this? Because honestly, Mishoku Tensei's is very kind of basic. It's like, okay, well, you have your basic fire, water, you know, fire, water, wind, earth mages, right?
By
And
your
then
powers combined.
no, Mishoku Tensei is definitely missing heart. Uh,
Or
no, I'm
well,
kidding.
no,
I'm kidding, guys.
T-Bait here is absolutely missing the heart.
Oh, the anime has no heart in it whatsoever. I'll agree to that.
Yeah, the anime
I'm
no heart. Everything else
to-
so much heart.
no. You know what? I'll rearrange what I said previously. During his bout with ED, Rudy had no heart.
Oh, poor boy.
Also, based on some of his actions previously, when it comes to his perversions, I was very curious. I was very much considering that he didn't have a heart to begin with.
It's more like the heart was shriveled and beaten to a pulp.
I
Thanks,
also will straight
bullying.
up. I also will straight up say that in comparison with characters, I absolutely 100% love Arthur as a character more than I do Rudius in Mishoku Tensei. You don't
Yeah.
get any of this from this.
Mm.
Like we're sitting here saying this show, especially in the early stages with what we're at right now, shares a lot in common with Mishoku Tensei, and it does it. And the reason we're saying Mishoku Tensei and not some other random generic isekai, which is what this anime turned out to be, some random effing isekai, is because like the level of detail and care that went into the world, the characters, all those things, and you're not getting as much of it with this anime. I will say this episode did do a few things right, and I want to acknowledge the few things it did right. Number one, Reynolds is acting like Reynolds. He's an idiot. He's kind of a
Yes.
lovable goofball, and you kind of got some of that with him cursing around Ellie and then her copying it and him getting chastised for it. The twin horns, or rather, okay, when the Helstias get back and he introduces himself and he's all proper manners and bowing and all that stuff, and he says, "Are you sure you're Reynolds' kid?" Okay, that was supposed to happen when the twin horns showed up in episode 2. Adam says that. He's like, "Are you sure
Yep.
you're Reynolds' kid?" And this is kind of an ongoing thing. It sucks that we didn't have that reoccurring moment again because it should have happened earlier. But this is kind of an ongoing thing. People who know Reynolds and then meet Arthur and they're like, "Wait, are you really his kid?" It's like, yeah, it's kind of an ongoing joke. The when the twin horns actually showed up, a lot of that was very samesies. I will say another thing in points for the anime. I actually appreciate the pat down that Jasmine gave him because last time she saw him, he fell off of a cliff that should have killed him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what's broken? What's wrong? You know, she's
Something has to be.
checking
She's-
checking the ribs, checking checking his sides, checking his legs, make sure she's like, you're not hurt. It's kind of like and
Everything's here. What the hell?
well, yes, but also it's like he really is.
It's
okay.
kind of a what the hell, but
okay to
also a oh thank God.
yeah. It's more of an oh thank God. With I would say if you split it up percentage wise, I would say 80% oh thank God, 20% what the hell.
Kind of, it's the opposite reaction of what Rudius's dad had.
It was kind of. It was very much kind of a. It was very much kind of a. Also, I'm glad we didn't get that whole thing, the return interaction between father and son. Oh God.
Mhm.
Though I do like the conversation that sparked in Mishoku Tensei between
Yes.
because you had people siding with one or the other, and then you had people saying they're both right and they're both wrong. Which it was
Mhm.
such a good. That was just a good conversation piece.
Damn good conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's definitely a lot of worry. I think it was more like Jasmine was just looking for permission to feel relief.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
But we'll go through more of the differences in a bit. Overall, this episode, I was just kind of like, about I honestly think that the changing of pace here is the fault of them trying to drag out the fight. If they hadn't tried to drag out the fight and we gotten the proper next day stuff, that would have
Mhm.
been so much more interesting. I
Mhm.
think because
Mm-hmm.
okay, so it's gonna come up in just a bit in the manhwa. The next day they go shopping because his mom is like, "You can't go out wearing all that. You need to wear some proper clothes." And he's like, "But I don't need proper clothes." It's just like, "You're going shopping. You're gonna like it," kind of vibe.
Yep.
And they do go shopping. They give him a haircut. They get him clothes. They ask Ellie what she thinks when he's got his new haircut and clothes, and her immediate response is, "Yeah, he finally looks good enough to be Ellie's brother." And it's like,
They're probably gonna do that next episode, if anything.
hopefully, but I mean, I wish they hadn't cut it out of
Hmm.
this episode because we didn't need the slideshow fight to go on that long. Also considering how long, like when you guys see the fight in the comic, you're gonna be like, "What the frick? Why? Why did this? Why did they
I'm
spend so much
betting
time on
it's
this?"
like 3, 4 pages max.
It's not. It's not. I don't know if it's that short, but it's definitely not that. It's definitely was not that long. They made it look like Arthur was struggling, which funny.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sure. All right.
I'm sorry, anime. You're not gonna sit here and tell me that the former king of the elves sat there and trained him in his beast mode, and start now. Given he's only been working with magic for the last 4 months, and he went from dark red to light red in 4 months. That's a big deal. Like he moved.
Mhm.
But you can't tell me he's been training with one of the toughest and most top guys. That from your perspective right now, from the perspective of just where we're at in the anime, he's been training with one of the top elites on the continent, and suddenly he's gonna have trouble with his father. Come on.
Yeah.
Like even from the anime, even from the standpoint of the anime, that's not believable. So,
It's like, what are you saying? That his dad is stronger than.
no, his dad is definitely nowhere near Virian's level.
I
It's
I know that, but it's
well,
what it's like
yeah,
implied.
that's what I'm saying. But I was agreeing with you.
Ah, okay,
But
okay.
yeah. But this was just absolutely unnecessary, and it dragged down the pacing of the episode, and I think it hurt it more than anything. Now, for the
Mhm.
most part, a lot of the stuff that they did cover was actually in the source material. The only thing that they skipped was the next day of shopping, which, even though they did, it's still kind of understandable. But, like, if you're like, oh, the pacing dragged on, was it because of, like, because we went from, like, all the Eleanor stuff and all this stuff that we were getting, and now it feels like the pace changed because he came home? Or is it because they drug out certain things that didn't need to be dragged out? Which ones do you think hurt the pacing of this episode? Was it more the fight, or just how the pace changed for the overall episode now that he's returned home?
It almost feels like one of those yes kind of questions where it's kind
Okay.
of like a little bit of everything.
A little bit of both.
D-
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the slowing down from returning home on its own would have been fine, but that combined with the dragging out of the fight and shit like that
Mm-hmm.
just made it feel all the worse.
Fenris, same question.
Yeah, definitely everything combined. Like
Okay.
everything seems to slow down. And I do have one question
Go for it.
with this episode.
Mm-hmm.
It really felt like the where they went to the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Was that is that supposed to be important? Because it feels like they just tossed it in there to fill time.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
know,
Oh, okay. You're
So-
talking about this part right here.
Yeah.
Where yes, that actually is important. That's not filler. That actually is legit important.
Okay,
did,
because
did
it
she
really
actually
just
take him to the
felt like
kitchen? Because I
yes.
don't remember
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yes. There weren't this many servants in the.
Okay.
This is the one time that the anime actually put more people in there, so it feels more lived in than the comic.
Wow.
And I'm just like, my dude, why couldn't you do this for the Elven Kingdom?
Like it
Right.
just really felt like it was pushed in there to fill time.
No, this was in
Yeah.
there. It wasn't pushed in to fill time. If it wasn't necessary, trust me, they'd have cut this too. But no, this is actually important. This
Yeah.
is important. From the standpoint of this girl who's been living with these people for this long, a boy shows up around her age, and he's, as of this moment, from her knowledge, he is a dual elemental lightning deviant mage. Like, dual elemental is already a big deal. Lightning deviant on top of that, and that he's the same age as her. They're 8 years old. The inferiority complex that she's going through right now definitely happened in this story. Yeah.
She's just an anxious little ball of noodles.
Well, it's not
And
just
it
that.
doesn't help
It's
that her parents are all like, "Oh, it's gonna be so great when your mana core awakens." Boy, I sure do hope that happens. Stares at her intently.
both of them. Both of them are non-mages as well. Both her parents are non-mages.
Yeah, that also adds a bit to the pressure.
Also, I
Mm.
literally just finished volume 11, and she pops back up in that volume, doing other things, and knowing where she is at that point and this now. There's so many feelings that I can't even tell you what feelings I'm feeling because I don't want to spoil anything just from saying.
Yeah, there's something
I
I
felt
want to
this
add
way
to
or
it, but
that
I'm
way.
like, no, I gotta wait.
There is a lot of interesting and good stuff coming up. However, it is what it is. That
Mm.
being said, any other stuff? The fatty duck parts and all that stuff, and the conversation about weight, that's in the comic as well. 100%. This is legit stuff that happens. Also, the
Yes.
whole mama coming in for a kiss. What, are you too big to give me a good night kiss kind of thing? That's for real. That happens. Now, okay,
also
so
just
this
cute.
was the other thing. This was the other thing that got me. This is the one piece of like really good animation I've seen since this started. Not the freaking talking part. It's the transition here from night to day. It was like, oh, they can do animation and transitions when they want to. Because that was well done. What the
Yeah.
frick? What the frick? Uh, so there's gonna be some minor differences. Okay, that right there did not have the same weight as before. All right, I am ready to start comparing with the comic. If you guys are,
Yep.
well, I only got one. Yeah. Did anybody have anything else to say about this episode before I start spoiling differences?
I feel like I had something, but
Go for it. Go for
oh, I don't know. It's just I feel like part of me feels like it really like I understand how it's apparently important to talk about her like the what's her name? I forget her name. Little
Lilia?
girl. Lilia, that's her name. So, like yes, she's all strained and all this stuff, but like, do we really have to comment about her weight and stuff? Like, can we go 5 seconds without taking a feminine character and talking about like her appearance for like 5 seconds?
Well, okay. I would
So-
normally agree with you, but there's context to this that doesn't that even in the show, even in the source material, isn't quite revealed yet. Part of that is all right. So neither of her parents are considered nobles. I don't believe. But
no,
the
they're not
Hellstia-
nobles, but
they're-
they're on the same level.
Yeah, they're on kind of that same level. So there is like that thing of appearances, but it's not like, all right, her parents aren't harsh with her, but there is like that whole, hey, we want you to be healthy. We want you. It just also, you got to understand, Zyrus City, you're surrounded by elites and nobles, so you're being judged all the time. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like, dude, if I take my niece to school, which I did this morning, I don't want her like smelling like hot garbage because other kids are mean. And
Very mean.
to be fair, they're not as mean as the academy students here, thank goodness. But they're still pretty mean. Like verbally, they can be pretty mean.
Mhm.
And so I kind of sort of get it from like a parental perspective. but yeah, there's reason. They're not doing it just to be like, oh, girl, watch their weight kind of thing. No, there's actually reason for it, and whether the anime
Mm.
goes into that is a whole different thing. It's not like a full on story that they tell. It's just background stuff that is happening that gives you more context. That's all. Uh,
Mm.
Honestly, I don't think we're gonna get to the academy, so I don't think we're gonna have to worry
It's gonna
about that.
suck.
Well, dude, you can't start up the academy and not finish the academy, and there's so much stuff that goes on in the academy that holy crap. I would honestly, I would rather that this whole show gets scrapped and another series, studio animates it from the beginning, and we literally, just get this redone with actual animation,
Mm-hmm.
then hit up season 2 here and have them fuck up the academy arc.
Yeah, fair.
Because like the stuff that goes on in the academy could be an entire season easy.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, Fenris, did you have any last minute stuff you wanted to point out before we jumped over?
Nope.
All right, let's move on. All right, here we are. We're going to take a look at the comic. Okay, so here we are. This is... All right, so we've kind of sort of saw this at the last episode when we went to the last episode. But, like, look, you can already see the nervousness on his face showing up. And so it's the more subtle emotions that were left out of the episode that, like, really, like, bring out the charm of this series, if I were to say. So I am going to quickly move through things because we did see a lot of the basic stuff in the anime. But yeah, he's having the flashbacks. I almost died. I honestly am more surprised that they skipped over this flashback than to just have the whole flashback with Virion during the fight. Also, yeah, little girl's voice. Okay, so there's the maid we met that had the fatty duck pieces for for her. Nice to meet you, Arthur Lay. Oh, I was informed. Leywood. And there she is. She looks adorable. That's Ellie. Also, okay, so again, they weren't expecting her, and I like this one better because she's like, you need to stop running off every time somebody gets to the front door. I say about greeting everyone who knocks on the door. And so I like this better because again, it's a surprise. They weren't expecting to see him. So that drops. He's already leaned forward, ready to run to her and hug her. Bam. Oh God. Okay, this hits so much harder. Like it's the emotional gut punches that come with like moments like this. Why wasn't this in the anime? Also, just he's tearing up. Look at Sylvie. Don't know about you. That kind of feeling. And there we go. Just for that one, nothing extra had to be done here to like make the scene longer or anything, except for maybe like dropping the bowl. But like, there's so much more heart in this scene, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just on the merits of this scene alone, what do you guys think? This versus what we got in the anime.
I think it is a little better.
Okay.
Much better.
Okay.
This is something we've mentioned before with this, but this series, at least the anime, seems to downplay or outright get rid of a lot of the emotions.
Mm-hmm. I think it's because they're so goddamn fixated on the king. Like, we get it. Yes, Arthur Lewin used to be King Grey, but he's not emotionless. The whole point of this story is that this is somebody who never got a family life or a family kind of environment and never got to have these emotions with anyone.
And now
I
that he
mean,
does have them, he takes the time to feel them to the fullest.
yes. Also, like what Sylvia said to him about taking his time and cherishing the moments that he has with his family and stuff. Like he really takes that to heart. So, like, there are thoughts that he'll have about like the whole adventuring thing that he talked about. He's like, I want to learn more about the world, but I also want to spend time with my family. And it's also the other thing about kind of why he's arguing against going to Xyrus right now or meeting the head of Xyrus Academy, which I can't wait to meet her. But a big part of that is because Sylvia told him to cherish his moment and cherish those moments, take time, live as a normal kid, you know? And so I think that's a big thing in the anime that is missing. I could forgive the anime for the crap animation if they got the heart of this story right. If the characters if the characters were still portrayed well, I could forgive that. But it just hurts so much that this story that I'm so invested in because these characters are so well done, the story is so well put together, the description of like the system of magic and how lived in the world feels, it really bothers me that those things are kind of glossed over or not used at all. Especially because I take insight from this story when I write content, especially like heavily so when I start thinking about stuff and improvements I want to make to Infinity's Light. I reference this because this is good content. And I like how lived in the world feels. And I'm taking notes on that mentally of going like, okay, what can we do to make that world feel so lived in, you know, or to make the feelings and thoughts of those characters come to life. I'm inspired by a lot of things when I write that series. I'm inspired by Arcane, which does such a good job of portraying emotion and the fact that, oh, not everything's so happy. Unintentional stuff that you say has consequences, big consequences. If Vi hadn't run her mouth, we wouldn't have ended up with Jinx, you know? So, it is what it is. But, it's a still image and it's conveying more emotion than the animation has done. And that's kind of bothersome to me.
Mm-hmm.
But there she is running forward. Like, oh. Also, you know what? I will keep commenting on little Sylvie. Like, that's so cute. But just, yeah. Reminds me of a certain turtle that's always riding on people's heads. All right. And there we go. Yeah. So I wish we'd got. Now we did get kind of the don't cry, mama, don't cry, don't cry. I can't tell from the Japanese whether there was something kind of like this. If they were having the voice actress do baby talk in Japanese, I could not. Pardon me. I could not tell, and that's because it's in a different language, and I'm not familiar with like how small children talk in that language versus full adults sound. I hope they do this in the dub. I really hope they do the don't cry thing, because that's cute and endearing. And I like that. I like that she's on the verge of tears too. And then okay, so he wasn't actually home.
He wasn't in the house. He was
Or-
coming home from
Yeah,
work.
he was coming home from work. And like just the reunion alone. Yeah, I love that. This way. But like, yeah, the Laymans are just being. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I love that. Comes in, Sylvie's like, nope. Just jumps out at the side. I didn't even notice that before, that Sylvie just noped off. But yeah. Yeah, there we go. There's little bawling Ellie, and there's Sylvie just
Big
being
happy
like,
family.
yeah. I even like that the maid breaks down. Like just in this shot, I wish we'd have gotten kind of this emotional resonance in the anime. But I mean, I've said that too many times already. All right, now that's okay. This is the other thing that I couldn't remember. No, no. Okay, so look, Sylvie's in Ellie's hands right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't remember Arthur sitting with them when they first got here. You're asking too many questions at once. Yeah, yeah. They didn't feel as concerned, but like it was like, how are you feeling? The voice. I mean, you told us that your illness and like we're still going over that, but it felt less familial, if that makes any sense. It feels less like concerned parents barraging him with questions, and more like, here's the things we're catching up on. You know, kind of feeling. Oh my god, I love that. That's so cute. That face.
Hmm.
And then that whole Ellie come here and say hi to Big Brother. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, Hoshi, just looking at this, how much is this tugging on your heartstrings right now? Just this page, this image. Is this
She is adorable.
so we get that face, the they're not giving me attention, and then we get Big Brother? Like ah!
It's cute.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my god. Yes. That should have been shown too, because that's adorable. I love the looseness of the socks too. There's good art happening here. And I have not paid enough attention to Sylvie's faces in this whole thing, because I've been like scrolling to a lot of time I was scrolling to read and not paying enough attention. Oh, okay. The awkward face. The awkward face on Arthur. Like, I don't remember that being there in the anime. Okay, so okay. There is that little look of concern, and then that's the part where everybody thought that she was gonna poop on the lap, but no, she jumps up onto her head. That
Mhm.
looks um yeah, yeah, see, he's not sitting with them, and I think that's a problem. Like, dude,
Yeah,
obviously
because
they
they've
would
been
have
away
him.
from him for so long, they want
Yeah,
to have him close.
suddenly they're putting on appearance. Like, also Reynolds, he would not have a like. He is the typical does not give a damn about appearances kind of character. Like,
Hmm.
no, my son that I haven't seen in years is sitting between us. We're gonna find out some dadgum answers. You know, that's gonna be how it is. So wasted potential. That's literally what I could sum up this entire anime as so far, as just wasted potential. In fact,
Wasted potential of the anime.
no. Let's go one step further. Everybody remember Let's Game It Out in his raft episode? The SS wasted potential. Cuz this ship has sailed. Oh man. But yeah, we got description of that. Yeah, I do. The one thing I would say is I do like the whole Ellie thing, like where she's like very curious and leaning up. I do like that minor difference, but like at the same time, this just this just hits more, you know? The awkward feeling. This is their first time meeting, and she's like what, 3 or 4, and he's
Yeah.
missed so much of her life, and he feels bad about that. You know, that's kind of awkward, embarrassed, guilty. Like there's so much playing through in his head just off of that expression alone that you can pull from. And then it's also kind of awkward. I love that like they literally have been telling her bedtime stories about him. Also, I love. All right, so that's the other thing. I love the egg color right here, because they do the like the full rainbow color on the egg. All that stuff in the background, and then he's like, "It's nice to finally meet you." And what's their first thing they do? It's a handshake. Why? Because they're awkward.
A good awkward handshake.
A good
Mhm.
awkward handshake between siblings. You know what I mean? What's an awkward sibling handshake between siblings? You know, whatever. Uh, okay, and now they start talking about Sylvie, and we get through all of that. Okay, hold on, wait, hold on. You don't need to worry anymore. Instability in the monocore. I feel like right there, that shot is because he's not completely telling them the truth, and it feels, yeah. See,
Yeah.
he feels bad about keeping secrets, and I don't think, if memory serves, I don't think we got that in the anime. So let's.
I think we did get him saying that, but there was
No,
no
but
feeling
not.
behind it.
Yeah, there was none of that. It was just blah 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 blah. Her name's Sylvie. It's like it's it's just exposition for the sake of exposition. Also, okay, right there, the QQQ. That's actually that's actually something because she only talks to Art in his mind.
Mhm.
No one else hears her. Only Art knows what she's saying, right? So that part makes sense of her just doing the hello kind of thing and saying QQQ. That absolutely is on point. But like, yeah, she is kind of sort of talking. But to be fair, and then we go right to that. Now, to be fair, it is pretty quick when he goes to that. So we lose. It's the subtleties. It's the subtleties in these characters' emotions that are so very important that are skipped over. So that's the majority of the skipped content. And yeah, so there he goes. I feel bad, Dad. What stage is your monocore at, champ? You know, it's like, I also love. Again, I wasn't paying enough attention to Sylvie when I first did this. She just hops up surprised. That's so good.
Very cat-like behavior.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And look at the
very
mom.
much.
Hold on.
Look
What's
at
the
the
mom
mom.
saying?
Yeah. Are you effing kidding me? He's like, Ray, your son
Ray,
just
your
came home
son
and
just
you're
came home and you're already talking about manicore stages.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yes, he
it's,
is.
Yeah, it's that. It's like, oh, what stage is your manicore? Reynolds. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we do get that, but to not to the degree. It's
They play
they're
it straight instead
they're
of making it
wholesome and
funny.
heartwarming. They're wholesome, heartwarming, and silly. All that's kind of the Lewin the Lewin family dynamic is just like she's the strict one. He's the idiot that just kind of acts on impulse. Uh, Ellie's just kind of figuring out who she is at this point in time, and Arthur, of course, is just trying to comfort both of his parents and not have them worry. But at the same time, he's keeping secrets and he feels kind of guilty. He feels guilty about that. He feels guilty that he couldn't come home soon. He feels guilty that he missed the birth of his sister and the first couple of years of her life. There's so much happening in just this scene.
See, when you started going through the family dynamic thing, I'm sitting here thinking about what if you made a parody of the Jetsons theme with the Leywins. Here's Art Leywin.
Do, 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 do. Honestly, I would. People could call this a fandom all they want. I'd like to just, not necessarily a bridge. I'd like to fandom this and do it fucking right. I would hire an animator just to give us like specific moments that we could just, because I'm like, hey, you can animate better than this, right? Hell yeah, I can. Cool, let's do it. Like, I would do it on purpose to just be like, hey, let's prove that we can do this. We're not going to animate everything. We're just going to change certain scenes and actually make them, oh, I don't know, more in line with the source material. But yeah, so, all right. So again, the braggadocious nature of Reynolds. Also, that face. Oh, so it wasn't only your facial hair that grew? God damn, you smug little shit. So again, it's these little things that are missing. Okay, then we got the dark orange stage, which means here's the funny thing.
Arthur is almost there.
Yeah,
He's almost at
Arthur
that
is
exact
literally
stage.
one stage behind. He's at the deep or light red stage, however you want to call it. And
No, deep was dark.
Okay. And that's the other thing that confuses me. It was dark solid, and light in the other versions, and now they have deep, solid, and light. I don't know.
Could have just been a mistranslation.
It could have been a mistranslation, and I'll give it that. But yeah, there's so if he's at dark orange and Arthur is at light red, that means that as soon as he breaks through the red stage into the orange stage, he's literally equal to his old man in terms of like monocore.
Hmm.
Now,
But as we see in the fight later, he's already equal in terms of fighting prowess. In fact, he's better in terms of fighting prowess.
I was gonna say, not in the anime he wasn't, but yeah.
We don't talk about the anime. The anime is now
Also,
Bruno.
why didn't we get that? That's objectively hilarious. See, my thing was, I thought like if they did this and they followed along with how like I was really hoping for this, because yes, the same thing is true from what you guys were saying of like the pacing of the story. The pacing is different. It hits different once he gets home. The pacing kind of slows down. But to make up for it, we have a lot of these funny moments. So you're smiling because it's entertaining as well as like informative. It's like, okay, yeah, this stuff would have to happen. You know, he'd have to explain everything to his parents. There'd be these awkward moments. And then his dad is the goofball. You know, all this stuff happens. But because they're so animated and everything, it's so animated personality wise, it's entertaining and it doesn't drag as much. It dragged so much worse in the anime because they're trying to be fucking serious about everything. And that's not this series. This series has, even in its dark and serious moments, it has lighthearted shit and expressions to not make it so horrible. You know? You
Also,
don't wanna be
Arthur
stuck in the
slash
sludge the
Gray
whole
is
time.
just a sarcastic asshole sometimes, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
great.
he's such a sarcastic little shit. He acts his age a lot more in the source material than he does in the anime. They keep trying to make him seem like a full-on adult the entire time, and it's like, no, dude, this guy, like Rudius, is emotionally stunted in many ways because he grew up in a very different environment than this. And so now he's kind of learning the same way that a child would learn to deal with these. But again, now I'm just making an assumption, but just based off of what we've seen so far, does the pacing feel better in this regard because we're at least getting some lightheartedness to balance it out? Hoshi? Hello?
Sorry, what?
Okay, I was asking. I was saying that. All right, you know the pacing issues you were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so with all of this silliness that we're getting through this, I'm saying that kind of balances. It feels like that balances out the pacing issues we were having.
Yeah, so far this, like, the web comic,
Hmm.
pacing wise, already feels a bit better, kinda. Like, it makes more sense.
Because it's not all serious, and we're not getting just exposition dumps.
Yeah. Like,
Uh,
that should have happened episodes 1, 2, possibly 3, but, like, not so much episode 3. To be getting
They
it in
could have gone through
episode
majority of the
8.
exposition in just the first 2 episodes.
yeah, we could have a lot of the whole monocore thing, the stages of the monocore. I don't know why they left it to this late. That could have been done in episode 2. In fact, it should have been done in episode 2. I think it would have been better because in the webcomic, I think they do it before
Yeah, way before.
before or after he awakens. I can't remember if they describe it before he awakens or after he awakens. If I think it's more appropriate to do it right after he awakens. I was really hoping that the whole monocore thing was going to be an explanation we got at the beginning of episode 2, which is where it should have been.
But it makes sense that he would even get that information, before awakening, because he's literally reading a book about the basics of mana.
Also true. All right, so here we go. He gets the "Where you at, son?" Light red. Light. Yeah, instead of damn it, light red. Holy shit! Sheet.
Shit!
Shit. I was like, that's amazing, Arthur. But Ray, dear, Yeah, that's the scary mom. There it is. What did I say about Ellie? Please don't say that word. Like, shit. It has, that does gotta have the whole Tony and Morgan Stark vibe. Because I got some important shit going on. Are you really light red? When? How? Uh. So like immediately, it's like, forget it. We're going backyard to spar right now. And then what's she doing? Shit.
Oh.
This is so much more of a wholesome vibe, and then we get the it's good to be back, and that's the end of that part. Now again, this is maybe just the first 5 to 10 minutes of the anime. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's interrupted by the explanation of Manacores that should have happened much earlier.
Yeah, also that, but yeah. I hope you're ready. Your father isn't the same as. Honestly, I was surprised. I didn't think they were gonna do this. Like, I didn't think they were gonna talk about the Monocores at all. I figured they thought they were gonna save it for season 2 and be
Yeah,
like
I
once they
almost
got
wish
to the
they
academy.
hadn't.
Yes, but also no. No, I'm glad that they did. I'm just mad that it took that long and that they put it in the wrong spot.
Mm.
All right, so we start to what the Oh, this is a preview. Got it. Okay, so here's the next thing. In come the Helstias. Ray, I just heard that your son is alive? What the world is what in the world is going on? Okay, so this feels different with their just run up thing from inside the house. They're like, "What's going on?" And then we get the proper introductions. Arthur, this is Vincent Helstia, who runs the Helstia auction house, and my old friend who I now work for. This is his house, so introduce yourself before we start wrecking it. So yeah, we get that. It's immediate. We get that immediate thing right there, and then we move on. So yeah, he does his introduction. I love that they look at each other. Wow, are you sure you're related to your father? Hey, like I'm glad they kept that. Like there are some parts of Reynolds that sneak in, but yeah, like I said, it's a running joke. And then of course she's immediately laughing. I get asked that a lot, but yes, it's like, yeah. Great to have you at our home. This is Lilia. They're gonna be friends. Hi, Q. And immediately, to be fair, that's
Shot through the heart.
100% true. It happened in both the anime and the source material. So let's get to. Yeah, don't say damn it. Don't say. All right, so we get the introduction. He's my boss. This is my son, Arthur. Da, da, da. It's way more formal and way more serious. But are you really Reynolds' son? That part. Oh, wait. Like, I'm glad they kept that in there because there hasn't been enough lightheartedness in this. And they are trying. There's the QQ. And there we go. So while not exactly the same, they are trying to get some of the wholesome, lighthearted warmth in there. Yeah, so what was
And
that
they're
about wrecking
failing.
my house? Can I touch your pet? I'm like, yeah. Oh, that's right, Arthur. Okay, so right now she's not angry, but she did hop from one side to the other because new person already trying to touch me. Not okay. That's just spar. Wait, sparring? Which is kind of what we got. They really are sparring. I love the change of this. What? Huh? Oh my god. So I don't know if this is exactly how they went in the anime. But yeah, you are right. Sylvie jumped over to Lily a little bit too quickly. All right, eh? Wait, sparring? Yeah, I think the transition with just keeping him on the screen, not only would it save them more animation, but I think it would have. I think it's the comedy of it hits stronger right here. Oh my god, they really are sparring, and then we can go from him doing that to like showing the place. Also, I love the two girls chasing Sylvie.
Mm-hmm.
That's cute. So now we get the fight, and here's where we will see the difference. It's like, your husband can't be serious about Arthur being a light red core mage, right? And it's like, now we're starting to get core talk, which is why I was so worried, because they weren't talking about the core before. Also, God, that face. I guess I'd better not tell him that I'm only at light red because I couldn't train my core while assimilating with Sylvia's beast will. Absolutely true. Yeah. That stuff, for the most part. Okay, here we go. Neither am I. The dash. It's really quick, and he's right there. You're going to have to try harder than... Oh, yeah, he did, buddy. Step. Pow. Okay, so... While Reynolds does hold up pretty well, it's still very obvious that Arthur is in control here.
Arthur has an answer to everything Reynolds can throw at him.
Yeah, he's like, so, what do you think? There's the smug little shit. Not bad, not bad. I'll admit you caught me off guard. But your old man is going to get serious now. And that's when we get the fire stuff going, right? And now... Now we start talking about the flashback stuff between augmenters and conjurers, which is important because that was there. Oh, I love that guy. I forgot that guy. He blew up his hand, or rather his arm. Yeah. So we don't want to go back over this explanation because we've already got it in the anime, but essentially you're kind of seeing some of the difference with augmenters and how they use their magic. And this is Gray. Back in the day. And now I learned a trick or two in 2 years as well. So he just powers up his fire, and then Arthur goes straight into lightning. So there wasn't all this unnecessary stuff in the buildup. It just pop pop. That's it. That's literally it.
It's like, I have fire, I have lightning,
It's
and water.
Oh, no. By the way, lightning is considered a more advanced, higher tier version of fire. So he's considered a deviant because lightning is considered one of the deviant elements.
Mm-hmm.
But like the surprise, and then it's so good. Bam! And then these guys are all the way out and away. They're like, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Okay, I need to unlock the episode, apparently. There we go. Unlock for 72 hours, you say. There's a deviant. Deviant! And look how proud Reynolds is. He's like, that's my boy.
That also has like double meaning. Deviant
Yeah.
because damn he's a little shit, and
Yeah.
deviant because lightning.
Yeah. But like they're very much enjoying it. And I mean, it is like this is the part that could have been drawn out a bit more, the fire versus lightning part. But I mean, you still have to show that Arthur has very much the upper hand. But Reynolds isn't backing down. And so that's good. Like, I wish this had been better choreographed. And then... So for the most part, this part needed to be dragged out more than the other part. And like he's dodging like crazy. As expected of my father, his punches are getting sharper and he's leveraging his longer reach so I can't get close. I need it. Where was this dialogue in the fight? Where was it?
Yeah.
Like, because now it gives the fight more weight and more meaning because we're hearing the thought process. And then, yep, I don't think we're necessarily reusing. I think we were getting a preview, but yeah, here we are. And it's quote unquote a draw. And there we go. That's some trick you learned, son. So now that we can, okay, so there was a bit of a flashback here. Lightning was by far my most successful deviant affinity, but I still had a ways to go. Ice was unstable and I hadn't even gotten to unlock sound and gravity. So at
Yeah, they
this
didn't
point,
even mention
yeah,
that he could do earth or wind magic yet.
yeah. Well, I mean, you've seen the green magic that he's used. That's wind. And
Mm.
anytime you see kind of like a brown or beige magic, that's him using. That's him using freaking earth. And I want you to
But
know
they're not
something else.
explaining that.
Yeah, it's extraordinarily rare. Oh my god, I love that face. All right, it felt good to brag to my parents. Oh. All right, so that's the fight. That's the whole fight right there. What did you think, Hoshi?
Yes.
Yes to what? I'm just
I mean, yeah, I guess it's better in the manga or comic.
yeah. Like
Sorry,
it.
I'm just feeling a little under the weather.
You're fine. You're fine. But yeah, there's a massive difference in like how they handled the fight here, and it felt it. Even though you're having to scroll through it, it feels way quicker. And that's the thing. It's not a 5 minute fight. It's more like a 2 minute fight. Is kind of the feeling you get from this.
And it also feels like there's more movement in the
Mhm.
comic than there is in the actual episode itself.
Also true. Yeah,
It
because
does.
it was literally choreographed, and it's like, guys, you have this as a blueprint. What the hell happened? Why are you just outright ignoring stuff? You're like, oh, this looks cool, and I'm like, no, it really doesn't. You know what looked cool? The actual fight. Ellie, don't run. Be careful. Papa, are you okay? I love the Vincent. I need a drink. It's just like, yeah, extraordinary job. Okay, there's the apprehension in Lilia. Yeah, I love that they're coming in. Like, oh my god. All right, so as we go a little bit further. All right, so here's the whole. Did you know we could get your son into the academy? He's an absolute freaking prodigy. What kind of future your son has, right? Of course. I knew ever since he awakened when he was 3. What? Awakened at 3? He blew up most of our house in the process. Good times. Popper, are you okay? It's like, yeah, he's fine. And it's like, okay, so as you're hearing this and he comes up, now he is kind of intoxicated here. And then he's like, telling him about Cyrus. And he's like, seriously, Cyrus Academy? Also, just little Ellie and Ray right there. It's so cute. My drunk husband does make a point, though. Oh, God. Okay. So, as we're talking about all of this, this is just kind of affirming that whole insecurity feeling in Lilia, you know? So, it kind of gives it a bit more emphasis, a bit more oomph. But yeah, Arthur saying, hey, this is my future. Let's talk about this. And then instead of him just outright saying it, we cut to later at night. I love that. All right, so Sylvie did decide to go to sleep with Ellie, and I love that she's just holding a fork. Why? Who knows? But yeah. So there was more of a direct connection to Ellie and Sylvie, but not Lilia. But either way, so we get the whole the whole goodnight kiss thing, and then that's so cute. That's precious. So in comparison to the differences between the anime and the web comics so far, with just this part, the post-fight stuff, how do you feel about that, Hoshi?
Already better.
Okay.
Again, the pacing in the comic is much better than the anime as a whole.
Gotcha. All right, so now they're gonna go for their trip. Don't hold it against Vincent early. Yeah, he means well. Yeah, I know. Oh, and now we're going back. May I spend some time with them before deciding whether to leave them again to attend this academy or not? Exactly. He's like, dude, I'd like to be with my family first. And then he says he's tired because of the fight, which isn't true, but you know. Also, look, again, just these little looks, this apprehension right there is giving us way more context. there's a whole show don't tell aspect happening here, and the anime isn't following that rule. It's doing a lot of tell and not enough show. Like, we need these moments. They may seem small and insignificant, but we need these moments because sometimes just a shot of someone looking a specific way can kind of clarify how someone is thinking better than an explanation with words. What is it? A picture's worth 1,000 words? That kind of thing? It just feels
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. All right. So, and this is, again, we get that flashback, and here's where she's like, hey, if you head that way, you're going to end up, like, lost or whatever. And that's when she takes her to, and see, there's less people here.
And she's more animated about it.
And she is, yeah. And so
Again, it's sad when a comic has more animation than an anime.
and then there's the maid saying the line. I'm glad that they got most of this, like, line for line. There's the lad that burned down half of the lawn I worked so hard to maintain. But yeah. So there are 2 maids and a butler in here, whereas there were more people in the anime, so it felt like they had a larger staff. I wish, like, they did more of that. Also, when she says she likes she's like, do we have any duck? Look at that face. She's ready. She's hungry. Do we have any duck meat left? The fatty parts, because they're delicious.
I
Yeah.
mean, she's a growing girl. How else is she gonna awaken her supposed monocore? She has
Yeah.
to eat.
You have to feed it.
Absolutely. You need energy.
Because everybody in this world knows that in order to awaken your monocore, you need fatty duck.
Absolutely.
I've never had
Only
duck.
the best
I've
in
heard
this
it tastes
economy.
good. Yeah, well, their economy is certainly doing better than ours. That's all I'll say.
Oh, I love duck eggs. Duck eggs are more creamier than a chicken egg.
I've never had
Interesting.
duck eggs or just duck
Neither
in
have I.
general. Yeah.
It's good.
But yeah, when it comes to the whole weight thing, it's just the whole putting on appearances and stuff because
It's
higher
literally-
class family compared to nobles and. Bleh.
It's literally the society that they live in. It's
Yeah.
not making a statement about anything. It's just that's
Oh.
the world we live in. I mean,
And it sucks.
go back like 150 years ago, fat women were desired.
Mhm.
Because the more meat on your bones, the more status you had because you could afford to eat.
Well, not just that,
Although
but also
anyone who listens to Queen,
Fat bottom girls.
girls, you make the rockin'
No,
world go
like-
round.
Like in
No.
like in ancient Greece, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
like bigger girls were desired because childbirthing hips and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But also it's like if you're able to afford food, damn.
you're
Mhm.
Sexy.
it's like, where did you get the food? Sir and Madam's greatest wish is for their daughter to awaken as a mage, despite either one of them being one themselves. So there's your explanation. I don't know if we got the explanation that
So-
neither of her parents were mages.
So if your parents aren't a mage, can you still be a mage, or is it kind of like a genetics thing? Like,
Yeah,
It-
you can
half
still
and
be
half.
a mage.
Half and half.
So-
yeah.
Yeah, like
It's just
everyone
harder.
is born with a manicore. It's just
Oh, no-
whether or
no.
not you can.
No,
Hmm?
they're not all born with manicores. Humans are the exception to the rule of you can't live without a manicore. Humans can be born without a manicore, but everybody is born with magic. Like,
Okay.
If Arthur was born with a manicore, he wouldn't have had to work so hard to make one at the age of 3.
Okay.
Yeah. They're not. You had your concepts kind of right. I just wanted to clarify that it's not the core that everybody's born with, but they are all born with the inherent ability of mana. It's just they can't always sense it and stuff like that. So yeah. And manacores are kind of a status symbol as well. Like having a manicore means that you are quote unquote superior to those that are not, and blah blah blah. it's a thing we can get into later as far as like the hierarchy of like the social hierarchy of just Xyrus. We're not even getting into Dicathan or Alacria, thank God. But yeah, it is kind of a if you awaken your monocore, if you have a monocore and you awaken as a mage, you are guaranteed to have a better life because of that, as opposed to not non mages. Now, to answer your question, yes, you can end up having someone awaken a monocore from two people who are not mages. It's just the difficulty goes up. Sorry, sorry if I took that away from you, Moon. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, like everyone has the ability to do magic. It's just whether or not they can make the core.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you were mostly right. All right, don't worry. I can tell that the Helstia family are nice people who mean well. All right, there we go. And that's the end of that one. And since so Arthur's Day Off is the content that was skipped. Are you ready? Hoshi,
What? Yes.
are you ready? This is the
Yeah.
content that was skipped. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So first off, aren't you excited? Wait a minute. How Tess is doing, and then that's another thing that I wanted that I was sad that we're missing. He smelled Sylvie. It was like, looks like I'm not the only one taking a shower today. And like this is a thing that you learn about Sylvie, especially young Sylvie right now. Cute. Come on, it wasn't that bad. She does not like taking baths. She is such a cat. Knock knock. Coming. Oh my god. Hello there, Ellie. The face. The face. Good morning, boy. Mama said wake you up. I see. Can Ellie take us down to see Mama? Okay, we can eat breakfast then go shopping. It's just like that whole relationship is so cute. Also, I like this outfit on Arthur better. Just saying. Yeah, Sylvie's excited because food. Also, how did Sylvie get back to Arthur when she was sleeping with Ellie? But she got there way before, long enough for a bath before Ellie showed up. Huh. Anyway.
Wait, what?
Yeah, okay. So in the previous thing, Sylphie, little dragon Sylphie, was passed out with Ellie. But then we get Sylphie licking Arthur's face and waking him up in the morning. There's enough time for the two of them to bathe, and then Ellie gets back. Like, how did Sylphie get in the room? Can Sylphie use... Oh, no. It's like Jurassic Park. They can use doors!
I mean, was it insinuated that the door was closed?
I have no idea, dude. I would assume so,
it could
because
be
he's about to take a bath.
Oh, true. Or she could have come... Or, I don't know.
So this is the funny thing. It looks like Ellie's eating, but also at the same time, it looks like Sylphie may have eaten it, too. I'm not sure who did what there. But yeah, let's... all right, so we get to the shopping. Sees a bunch of cool stuff that he likes. Yeah, what sort of shop is that? Beast Cores. That's where we get more explanation on Beast Cores from the perspective of I guess normies in this world. A bit of a gamble to spend hundreds of gold on. But if you're lucky, one might even contain a beast will. So like literally you could spend hundreds of gold. Like Beast Cores are the gotcha games of this world. Hundreds of gold, if not thousands. Like I'm good with my beast will, thanks. Yeah, no shit, it's a dragon. Our Helstia auction house. So you learn a bit more about the auction house. There is a place I wanted to take you as soon as I saw you. Said Lilia. Okay. And there we go. Here's the haircut. I feel free to just chime in on what you see here. Like if you see something and you're like, "Oh my god, I must say something," you're absolutely free to.
I'll be right back, though.
Oh, okay. All right, so we'll pause the stream here. Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
You're
You're
good.
good. It's just this part we knew about this part, so we wanted to make sure that you were able to see the skipped content because this was part of what we were getting at. So we get the he's getting a haircut
Mhm.
and the sheer look of terror on that face. Is this necessary? Arthur dear, your hair is atrocious. Okay, I didn't see Ellie and Sylvie getting along like that. Also, she is sitting on Lilia's, so it is what it is. Don't worry, ma'am. I'll make your sun shine. And ah! Like the flawless Jim he is. I was like, okay, we're going overly feminine with the dude. Arthur. I, I needed this in the anime just for the internal screaming right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you look perfect. I feel ridiculous. Okay. So now this is Arthur's new look.
Maybe we'll get it in the next episode, but that's again
Maybe.
wishful
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah. Good enough to be Ellie's Buetta now. So yeah, the smirky little shit. Ellie's
Oh,
right.
good.
You
It
finally
seems
look
like you're just like your brother.
Yeah. Exactly. She's just as much of a smug little prick as her brother. Also, okay, Ellie is jumping over to freaking Lilia's head. And okay. Oh yeah, students of Zyrus Academy. So we're already learning that students of Zyrus Academy can be absolute pricks. It's sort of a status symbol here to be seen wearing that uniform. They look like jerks to me. A lot of them are. So I really do hope that we do get this in the next episode. But yeah,
Again,
what the
very
frick is she
wishful
eating?
thinking.
Yeah,
And even if we do, it probably will be all like monotone and like super serious and like
God, yeah. She's talking about the school. I love this. He moves off. He's like a puppy.
I mean,
He's
he
usually
is
so calm and
partially
mature.
feral.
Yeah, he's usually so calm and mature. It's refreshing to see him like this.
Lady, you haven't seen him in a couple years. You you don't know what he's like.
Uh
Are
that
you?
that's what they're all
Guys.
picturing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they're all picturing it like that. They're like, yeah, like so they've all decided that he's feral. So he went into a weapons shop and an armor shop, and he's looking
The
it up.
fact that they would
I
think
love the dog
otherwise.
tail on him. He's just so happy. He got a little puppy tail and puppy ears on his head. It's so silly. I love it. Okay, and then we get this. This ain't a place for kids, young man. Please leave while I'm asking nicely. The thing you're looking at is a dangerous weapon. Do you understand what that means? This isn't like the toy swords you have at home, brat. Yeah.
About that.
There's a candy store just outside the... I'm well aware of what a sword is. My apologies for getting in the way. Hold it, brat. What house raised such a root? All right, now we get the... All right, Mama Bear coming out. Our neighbor's Augustus from house... Helstia? Augustus, you're from the house, the Branch family. Dude, just the look. All right. Mama Bear's ready to throw down. Meanwhile, Miss Helstia is like, oh.
She looks like the disgusted auntie who's just like, "You're talking to my nephew like that?" Oh
Yeah,
no.
no. Seriously? That's kind of how this whole relationship is. You can
Allow
think
me
of
to
it
put
like
you
that.
in your place. Worm.
Yeah, exactly. So you can think of the Helstias as kind of like the aunt and uncle and her as the cousin. Lilia is kind of the cousin. And then you look, Sylvie and Ellie are already on the same wavelength. They're like, the fuck did you say about my papa brother? All right. From the Banch family of Ravenpour. We're gonna hear more about them at a later junction. No idea this child was with the Helstia house. My sister. Oh yeah, now drop to the ground and apologize. I love Arthur's
Meanwhile-
face. He's just like, what?
He's like, what the?
Yeah.
Dude. You're embarrassing yourself. Get up.
Truth be told, I was more afraid of what you do to that man. Also true. Well, ah, okay. This is the other reason why I wanted this. Moon, we're setting this part up already. Moon, you
I
there?
don't remember
Oh,
who that is.
you will, you will later, because he sees.
Oh, it's that asshole. Okay.
Yeah, it's that asshole.
I'm gonna laugh if all of this is in the next episode.
I mean, if it is, then yay. But like, they cut it out of this episode.
Mm.
Someone I'd like you to meet. Are you kidding me? Okay, so just we have to skip all of this. So literally, they got okay. So literally, they just immediately jump to the return of the which columns of the twin horns. Meanwhile, we skip so much stuff that I cannot show to you right now. Okay, so they may not have skipped all that stuff. They may have just had them show up. In which case, so we've gone through like what 3-4 chapters of content at this moment.
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's
That's a lot.
5. Yeah, the deal. See, right now they haven't even shown up yet. It's been like at least a week, and we haven't gotten them showing up yet.
I mean, it could be, it's something they've switched a little bit in the anime, so that way
Could be.
it's not that way. Because like I feel like the
But
next
that's
stuff
why.
that's supposed to happen.
That's also why it kind of threw us off a bit. Is because okay, there we go.
So I wouldn't be surprised if all what we were just looking at and stuff doesn't happen in the next episode because it's probably like
Well, all of this
really.
next stuff would have to really like that would have to be important and really, really.
I don't know. I'm trying.
No, you're good. You're good. It's okay to. It's okay to. Okay, bettering. Trying to remember. Okay, blah 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 blah. That's his. Okay, these are extra notes from that. So chapter 46, 47. Literally, here it is. 2 months later, right? 2 months later, you must be excited to see the twin horns today. It's been a while. So literally, it's been 2 months, and there he is. So it's not literally the next day. It's 2 months later. Sylvie comes in. Now Sylvie has little horns and spines. So, think you're small enough to keep riding on my shoulder. Did you just... Are you really... Okay, so this plays out pretty much the same. I love that. I love that Sylvie just gets knocked off. So hard for this young boy. Angela, I can't breathe.
5 feet.
So it's
5 feet.
yeah. There's a lot that takes place in between. They may have swapped it around, like you said. That could be true. But yeah, I don't like that. Dirted, you got even bigger. It's like, oh, the big man. Okay, there we go. Same to you, big man. Just comes over, pats him on the head. All right. Now, I do think that the Adam thing was done differently, and I wish it'd been kind of the same. The game plan was to put on a happy face for the kid. What's with all the tears? And is no one going to comment on the black mana beast hanging behind? Flop. You can ignore this fool immediately. Just yoink. I'm so glad to see you all grown up and even more handsome. There's Helen. Oh, man. And then here we go. No pat down this time. Just immediately runs in. Hug. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jesus. This is so much more impactful than it was in the anime. Not that I think the anime did a bad job. It's just the impact was here. So that being said, this he was like all that shit he was talking about oh, we were dry eyes, guys, happy faces, and that face on Adam. I'm not crying. You're crying. That's beautiful. Looks like we missed our time, eh? So it's just the dynamic is so much cuter this time around. All right. That being said, catching up to where things are in the now that we've caught up more or less to where things are in the anime at this point, we're skipping past the fight, going straight to okay, there's the duck fatty stuff. The kiss. Okay, there's yeah, there we go. All right. So, having come all this way through all of this, there's the hugs, there's the if I remember right, there. Yeah, there it is. It's just they give him kind of a tear. I think it was better in the comic, but that's just me. Now that we've compared the two and you've kind of seen the difference, what is your rating for this episode, Hoshi?
For the episode?
Yeah, for episode now that you kind of have seen a bit more of the difference, what rating do you give this episode out of 10?
3.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, that's whew.
Yep.
I don't think this is the worst one yet. Mine is higher than you, but I respect it. I can understand. You're like, nah.
I'm only
well,
one higher.
In that case, where are you at with how the webcomic did it?
At least a 6.
Okay.
And honestly, if I'm comparing this episode to the first episode did higher.
Wow. Okay. So you're at a 4, Moon?
Yeah, I'm at a 4.
Okay. Yeah, I'm either at a 4 or a 5. I'm not fully on, but like, I initially had a higher opinion of the episode because of a lot of the things that it did right, and then as I was going through and refamiliarizing myself with the comic, that just kept dropping lower.
I'm
and
very
lower.
disappointed in this episode.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah. But yeah, I don't blame you, and it is what it is. Yeah, this is I won't say this is my least liked episode of the series. I still think episode 5 was the worst episode for me because of that whole red herring thing of making everybody think that Tessia had turned against Arthur as soon as she got to the place. Like, it was just bad. I did not like it. I don't like this episode either, but I don't think it was the worst one. I would say that probably the title of this episode was They Got More Wrong Than They Got Right. Or Too Little Too Late, because yeah, this was not a very good episode. The slideshow returns is also another title we could give it. Like, it's just so bland. And this series deserves so much better. This series deserves a better class of animator. You know,
Facts.
once again, it's not about money. It's about sending a message. But that being said, those are our thoughts. Those are our opinions. What are yours? Let us know down in the comments below. You don't have to agree with us. Did you like this episode? Did you not? Why? Why not? Do you disagree with our opinions? Yes, no. Why not? I'm trying to be objective as possible, but like at the same time, I do have a vested interest because I really do like this series. And when I see the anime doing a poor job, I'm not going to sit down and pretend like it didn't. I think we should call it out. And with the amount of stuff that happened, yeah, I'm down to giving this a 4. If memory serves, I think I gave a 3 to episode 5. So this is my second least favorite episode. I hope we get better stuff later. That's literally all I have to say. Any closing final thoughts about this episode or the webcomic that was covered in this episode?
Do better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't let a comic outstage you.
Too late.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's this whole series in a nutshell, which is so sad. Look what you did to our little nugget last week. Last week you were so excited to talk about it. I freaking knew it. I knew it was an egg. Like, you were so ready as soon as it started. This week you were just like, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Look what you've done. Look what you've done to our nugget.
Like,
dare
how
you?
could you go from that to this? Like, it just feels like such a drop and such like a face plant. Like, the whiplash is.
To be fair, in the comic it was sort of like that, but like there was more understanding. It was like, yeah, dude, things are gonna slow down. He's home. He's with family. That, like, it's implied. Like, you understand that. It's like, hey, we're gonna take our time with this. Also, if everything is at that same level of go, 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 oh, then it's not gonna. Those moments where it ramps up are not gonna hit as strongly. So
Yeah.
I will defend a change in pace depending on the situation. However, if that change in pace is not handled well, yeah. Also, we will be coming back with more webcomic and manga reviews this Saturday. If you want to come hang out with us, live streaming. I think Fenris and I will be covering some stuff, but others are welcome if they want to join. But yeah, I think at some point we will sit down after this is over, after this season is done. We'll probably sit down and just go through the webcomic again and just talk. Just have a webcomic episode specifically where we just go over the webcomic and we're like, this was done well. Wish this was done and blah blah. Like, we'll have our thoughts. We're kind of sort of doing that already, but like having just the webcomic and not talking much about the anime and just like enjoying the story, you know?
You were talking about like the whole like manga reading thing, and part of me is like, I'll just bring a whole stack of BL comics. Let's go.
No, God.
The
No, we're not.
intricacies
We're not talking
of
about
BL.
reading. It's less about reading them and more kind of like us just like
I'll make a
gushing
slide-
about the stuff that we like. So like we're
I'll
gonna
make a
talk about
slideshow
omniscient reader.
presentation.
Okay, so you're gonna make a TBATE anime for your favorite BL manga. All right,
Yep.
Gotcha.
And it'll
Yeah.
still probably be better.
Yeah.
I'll put even more like movements and spinning elements.
Like, dude, it's so funny. All right, that being said, guys, that's it for us. I am Richie Roberts, joined by Moonlight Sparks
Aye.
and Hoshi Nugget. And
I like.
yeah, you like,
Yes.
go for it. Go for it. You like nuggies?
Yes, I like nuggies.
There we go. That being said, guys, we are out of here. Once again, watch more anime. And of course, guys, if you like this content, please give it a like, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and leave us a comment. It really helps us out in the algorithm. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Take care, and bye-bye for now.